¡Bravo! Buenas noches, señores y señoras del Poliedro de Caracas. ¿Cómo están ustedes el día de hoy? Yo creo que va a ser mucho más fácil poner el micrófono en algún lado. ¿Qué tal? Si lo pongo acá. Pero no se sostiene. Tipo, me encantaría que se sosteniera porque tengo que tenerlo cerca, pero no lo voy a tener así todo el tiempo. ¿Cómo están ustedes hoy? Mis dos espectadores raros de spam de Kit y yo mismo seguro seré el espectador de Twitch. Bueno, hoy sí preparé algo. Primero que nada, si me están viendo de YouTube, hago todos los días en vivos en Twitch a las 10 de la noche. Casi siempre a las 10 de la noche voy a bajar al aire porque tengo frío. Tengo calor. Ahí está. Yo me preparé con unas pepas que me quedaron. Vinieron mis amigas a merendar y merendamos pepas. Merendamos un montón. Merendamos pepas. Merendamos bizcochitos. Merendamos cachitos. Merendamos todo y de última merendamos pequeño. Aquí me quedaron estos pequeñitos. Y yo dije, listo, para cena, para cena. Hoy preparé algo que es, iba caminando por la calle y vi Christspiracy, el documental. Y yo dije, ¿qué es esto? Me interesa. A mí siempre me gustan mucho los documentales. Incluso yo en la universidad siempre aprendí a punta de documentales. Siento que historia del arte la pasé a punta de documentales. Bueno, cuestión que decía que fue hecho por los mismos chicos que hicieron el documental de What the Hell, que es un documental muy fuerte de la comida en Netflix. Y yo cuando lo vi, soy tan teatrero que me hice vegano por 6 meses. Como que siempre quise probar qué era ser vegano y demás. Entonces me hice vegano por 6 meses. Y este documental de Conspiracy es hecho por esa misma gente. Seguro va a estar muy bueno. Yo lo quiero ver. Voy a bajar esto para que no se vea. Así que tenía incluso un enlace para verse gratis. Entonces yo dije, claro, no creo que les importe mucho entonces que yo lo reaccione, ¿no? Así que, ¿qué hice? O sea, me metí en el enlace y me trajo a esta página. Y eso es básicamente lo que vamos a hacer hoy. Así que vamos a empezar de una vez porque el stream de ayer fue un quilombo. Hoy, ¿qué mejoré? Hay chat. Si alguien escribe en el chat, mira, yo mismo me voy a escribir en el chat. Para que vean. El chat sale en la pantalla, gente. El chat sale en la pantalla. Ustedes no lo están viendo porque se me olvidó ponerlo. Pero el chat debería salir en la pantalla. Aquí ya ustedes lo van a ver, mira. ¿Vieron el chat en la pantalla? ¿Vieron que ahora tenemos chat en la pantalla? Así que cada vez que ustedes escriban van a seguir apareciendo ahí. ¿No les parece genial? ¿No les parece tremendo? Bueno, empecemos. Esto creo que está en inglés, pero debe tener subtítulos, ¿no? Bueno, los subtítulos están en inglés. Si veo que alguien se conecta y me dice que no sabe inglés, se lo empiezo a traducir. Y si no, va a quedar como un video para YouTube, así que no olviden suscribirse, darle like al canal, verme en Twitch, seguirme en Instagram y mandarme plata si quieren. Yo ya estoy que no debería comer más, pero estoy tan lambucio. Tengo como un pedo atravesado. Si lo escucharon fue un pedo, perdón. Pero no me arrepiento de nada. Ya que justo me mandaron unos mensajes como todo el tiempo. Cada vez que me voy a poner que prendo el stream. Así que los respondo. Y podemos ver algunas cositas por acá. Descargué Tinder de vuelta. Y me dice uno que tengo pinta europeo. El peor chamullo de la historia. Otro me dice... ¿Y cuánto mides? No sé por qué me ofende que me pregunten la altura. No me gusta. O sea, ¿no les gustan los enanos? ¿O qué? Y cuando ya me preguntan directamente la altura, me siento bajito. Y yo mido 1,70, lo que no es tan alto, pero tampoco soy tan bajito. Ay, pero bueno, qué sé yo. ¿Qué sé yo? Vamos a empezar. Los subtítulos están en inglés, así que lo veremos en inglés. Y si alguien se conecta y dice no hablo español, no hablo inglés, te lo tratamos de traducir. Yo igual no es que entienda todo, ¿sí?
Well, it took us 7 long, wild years to make and bring this film to you. And we want to thank everyone, including you, for supporting us in making it happen.
During these 7 years, we were spied on, had our homes and vehicles ransacked, and our major streaming partner even asked us that we censor some of what we found. We couldn't do it.
Instead, we made the bold decision to buy our rights back and make this film accessible to you, uncensored on this pay-it-forward platform. That's right, a
Ya, porque me perdí.
stranger has already paid it forward for you to watch Christspiracy.
But many more people want to watch this film. And in all honesty, we can't cover the costs alone. Christspiracy is in the hands of viewers like you. To keep the chain of generosity going, you can pay it forward and keep this film accessible to everyone. And as a thank you, your contribution will unlock some amazing HD streaming features, along with many other exclusive perks.
We've given everything we can to get this film to this point and onto your screen. Now, the rest is up to you. After you log in and watch the film, stay tuned just a little longer as we have a special message and gift for you at the end.
So if you can, we encourage you to pay it forward, get ready, and enjoy the film. It's a jam-packed adventure you will not want to miss 1 second of. We'll see you on the other side.
Tengo que elegir cómo verlo. One payment. Molly payment. Continue for free. Se ve muy bueno, la verdad.
Is there any threat or danger making a film like this?
Yeah, you
Y los en Chinese, Spanish.
just wait. You have no idea.
Voy a enchiquecer un poquito la pantalla porque me da miedo que no la estén viendo bien. Ay, por si de repente no se veían los subtítulos o algo. Ya al principio porque no entendí ni mierda. Hay miles intentando cortar las ramas. Ah, puta que te parió. ¿Ya? Hay miles intentando cortar las ramas.
Is there any threat or danger making a film like this?
Yeah, you just wait and see. You have no idea of the far-reaching power of the church.
Por eso los tipos no pudieron conseguir lo que necesitaban para publicarla sin censura.
They will stop at nothing to keep this truth from getting out.
A filmmaker from now LA, and I thought I had it figured out. My previous films exposed the meat, dairy, and fishing industries' collusion with government, big pharma, and nonprofit health and environmental organizations. And let's just say they were a bit controversial.
This controversial documentary, what the hell, have you seen it?
It's filled with a lot of propaganda.
Documentary, Cowspiracy.
Diabetes associations, they are funded by these meat and dairy organizations and these pharmaceutical companies.
We just lump everything together.
That people don't die.
Though I wanted to be finished with the subject of
Repito porque soy una pelotuda bárbara que me había muteado para que no me escucharan sorbiendo el agua. Que esta gente de este documental son los mismos de este documental que les acabo de mostrar acá, que se llama What the Hell, Health, de salud, que expone cómo las compañías farmacéuticas están financiadas por la industria del carne y demás, y es como todo un ciclo de daño, y como que se expone mucho el daño que hacen ciertas, ¿cómo te diría? Como comidas, cosas, y cómo nos enseñan a que tomar leche va a ser bueno. O a mí lo que nunca se me olvida de ese documental es que dice que casi la mayoría, la mitad de la población mundial es intolerante a la lactosa. O sea, es como, claro, porque no estamos diseñados para tomar leche después de que dejamos de amamantar, pero bueno, esa es otra historia que tendrán que averiguar por ustedes solos.
animals, I was constantly reminded there was one more piece of the puzzle I was missing: the ethics of eating animals. And though I consider myself a quasi-spiritual Buddhist yogi because I love crystals, sacred geometry, did yoga a few times a week, and carried a picture of the Dalai Lama in my wallet, I didn't know much about the ethics of eating animals or where to begin. So I put the project on hold until at a screening and Q&A for one of my films, I heard a question I'd never heard before.
Is there a spiritual way to kill an animal? I'll put it this way. How would Jesus kill an animal?
Wow, it's a little much. I'm not religious, so I don't think I'm going to go there. So I don't know what to answer about that. But
Little did I know at the time, but this bold question would soon launch he and I on a journey into uncovering one of the biggest cover-ups in the last 2,000 years. But at the time, I didn't know what to think about it. Then, after the Q&A, he came up to me with his business card saying he was an aspiring filmmaker trying to find a Christian way to eat animals and needed help. I was highly skeptical, but something in my gut said I had to meet up with him the next day where he was living out of his van.
And just start this name who you are.
My name is Cam, and I grew up in the heart of the Bible Belt in the Deep South to a 16-year-old mom and a 17-year-old dad. My entire life.
Qué raro, ¿no? Que siempre los católicos, las religiones, tipo a los 17 y 16 ya están teniendo una familia. ¿Por qué será que no se quieren que descubran el mundo y se ocupen de nada?
Was church. I was raised in the church, had a career in the church, and recently I had to take a step back and question a big part of my faith, which is the question around eating animals. And it all started when I did the Daniel fast.
The Daniel fast.
Yes.
What is the Daniel fast?
It's inspired by the diet eaten by the Old Testament prophet.
And didn't have any animal products and
parts of the diet's goals to bring fasters closer to their religious roots.
Daniel was a prophet in the Bible who proved to the king to be 10 times wiser, healthier, and stronger than all the other men in the kingdom. And his secret was that he refused meat and only ate vegetables. So I looked up this trendy vegetarian diet on the leading Daniel Plan website.
And I want to welcome you to the Daniel Plan.
Yet I was shocked to find a bunch of meat-based recipes like guiltless chicken breast tenders, grilled lamb chops, and even meatloaf cupcakes. And then when I tried calling them. So I've tried to ask this question multiple times, but I keep getting sent to a voicemail. If Daniel ate only vegetables, then why is there meat on the meal plan?
Hold on.
Then things got even more interesting when I was on tour in the South and stopped by to document the Noah's Ark Museum, where I found out that Noah, like Daniel, was also vegetarian, which was a surprise to me.
If you go all the way back to the original creation, God made everything perfect. There was no death, no bloodshed, which means nothing was eating meat. And we see that in Scripture. In Genesis 1:29, man was vegetarian. So if you go back, Noah and his family were still being obedient to that. After the flood, of course, is a different story.
O sea que este documental se va a tratar, yo la verdad que no averigué de qué se trataba, pero dije, bueno, si lo hicieron ellos de seguro debe ser bueno. Se va a tratar de eso, de ver cómo comemos carne y nos van a convencer de no comer carne.
Wait, so now that I think about it, it seems kind of weird. If he was vegetarian his whole life and he loved animals so much.
And he rescued them, yeah.
Yeah, he essentially pulls off the world's largest animal rescue, and then he eats them after?
So it's not that it's a sin to eat meat. See, I grew up on a farm, and I know in our modern culture, there are situations where people are not doing the practices properly, and I like to see that done a little bit better. And I think most Christians would echo that as well.
He did make a good point about the farming practices, so I went to the Noah's Ark buffet farm where you raise and kill your own animals?
No.
Can you tell me where you get your meat from?
No. No comment.
Oh, why?
No comment. So, yeah.
She didn't really want to talk about it, so I looked it up myself, and it was Cisco Foods, the leading distributor of factory farm meat brands like Smithfield and Tyson. And as it turns out, 99% of all animals for food are factory farmed. So I started to think, what would Jesus do when it comes to eating animals? And even more specifically, what would he do when it comes to killing an animal?
Why does it matter if Jesus killed or ate meat? What does that have to do with anything?
To me, it matters if Jesus killed or ate animals because my entire life has been based on following Jesus. There's even a phrase in Christianity called, "What would Jesus do?"
Más les vale que eso sea un documental serio, porque si no me va a calar todo esto. Total, igual tampoco es que tenga nada mejor que hacer. Pero sobre si Jesús comió o no animales, tantas cosas en el mundo y no me preocupa por eso.
That we ask ourselves when we're faced with a moral or ethical dilemma.
Does everybody have their WJD bracelets on? Do you know that? Better life.
The fact of the matter is, whether you're a Christian or not, or even if you don't believe in Jesus, your entire life, everyone in the Western world's entire life is affected by the church. Christianity is the largest religion in the world. There's two.
Ya va que me escribieron un mensaje. Juanfer, sí, sabes que con las notas de voz al final no las usé porque cuando terminé de editar el video dije no hacían falta, y te lo iba a decir hoy en la mañana pero se me olvidó porque me entretuve cambiando lo que tenía que cambiar. Dije como que habían videos que yo no había visto y que cuando agregué todo terminó como de cerrar. Bueno, fueron a comer, terminaste y hasta ahí terminó. Así que no vi la necesidad de agregarlos porque aparte me dijiste que los querías agregar en otro video. Pero claro, a mí me faltaban ver unos videos, por eso no lo agregué. No jodan, aparte vienen a escribir a las 10:30 de la noche.
3 billion Christians worldwide. 65% of the country is Christian. 88% of members of Congress are Christian. And every single president in the history of the United States was a Christian or believed in God.
In America, we don't worship government.
I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican.
What does Christian values have to do with eating animals?
All Christians kill and eat animals based off of the fact that we believe or have been taught that God commanded us to eat animals. So I wonder what would be the Christian or Christ-like way to kill an animal.
My name is Cameron Waters, and I want to be baptized to express my love and commitment as a born-again Christian.
We have a wonderful friend, his grandson.
Do you feel Jesus ate animals?
Did Jesus eat animals? Certainly ate fish. I know that's not.
Luego aprendí a mi mamá que este es de Jehová, sí. ¿Sabes que estoy viendo un documental de que hablan como de la iglesia católica y que como que se cuestionan si Jesucristo mató animales y comió? ¿Hay como referencia a eso en la Biblia? O sea, o solamente comió pescado.
But he certainly would, if he were offered in this day and time a hamburger, he'd eat it.
And when it comes to, say, killing an animal, what would Jesus do?
That I have no idea.
Interesting question. The possibility of him, of him saying, I can kill this animal, or...
I don't think that my denying myself a filet mignon every once in a while is going to enhance the coming back of the kingdom of God.
But you have to ask yourself, do animals have rights spiritually? And I think the bottom line is this: when Jesus came to die on the cross, he didn't come to die for cows and horses and pigs. He came to die for humans.
All my pastors started pushing back, community leaders started pushing back on those questions, telling me that I shouldn't be going down that road. And eventually it caused me to have to really step back from my community, from my church, from my band, which was how I supported myself. So...
Igual como tanto drama por si Jesús comía carne, ¿no? Es como que necesito que se hubieran buscado un problema en esto, pero ¿quién soy yo?
I left the church. Now I just live in my van and I'm trying to figure out this question, which is the reason why I asked it to you.
Is there a Christian or spiritual way to add no idea? Supposedly, one of the most spiritual leaders today was my hero, the Dalai Lama, who observes the first precept of Buddhism to not kill any sentient being. So, to get some perspective on the flip side of Cam's question, I decided to look at why the Dalai Lama chooses not to eat meat.
What? The Dalai Lama eats meat?
I was quite shocked to learn this and immediately reached out to him to see how it's possible to compassionately kill and eat animals. But he didn't respond. Maybe there was a spiritual way to eat animals. And since religions are essentially the non-profits of ethics, then perhaps this was the missing link to my previous films. So I reached out to Cam and told him I would help him find if there was a Christian way to kill and eat animals, if he would help me find if there were any other spiritual ways. Though when it came to Christianity, I had to admit, a person, especially since he was always depicted as a white guy, even though he was from Nazareth in the Middle East. But Cam showed me a book by the leading historian of the time, Josephus, that does crucifixion. And with that, we teamed up to find out first, what would Jesus do by going straight to the top?
It is the oldest university associated with the Vatican, and this is my 4th year as dean.
Did Jesus eat meat?
Yes, of course. I mean, I don't think there is any doubt that Jesus had meals including meat, because it was part of the Passover meal, for instance, as we know, that a lamb was sacrificed.
How would Jesus kill an animal?
I suppose Jesus would kill an animal in the less painful way possible.
And how is that exactly?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you have.
How would he do it?
I suppose imagining Jesus with a knife in his hand, slitting the throat of a lamb, isn't this particularly cruel, isn't it? Because a lamb is something that aspires for life, as all living things do. So it seems very inconsistent to consider Jesus as engaged in terminating a life in that way.
So maybe he didn't kill or even eat
I think we need to...
Pero no entiendo. Es como mucho drama porque están preguntando que si Jesús comía carne, o sea, tampoco es el fin del mundo, no es que va a venir Jesús porque preguntaron si comía carne o no. ¿Cuál es el pecado de decir o de buscar?
We realized our best chance to find out what would Jesus do was to find an expert on religion and animals, and found Oxford theologian Dr. Andrew Lindsay, who has written over 35 books on the subject. He was reluctant to do an interview, but finally accepted.
Finally.
Am I a lamb to the slaughter?
50 years on religion and animals.
Do you want to answer now? Yeah, what's impelled me to stay with the animal issue is that I believe religious people, and Christian people especially, have just lost the plot, disrespecting the creature.
No hay que ser muy pensador para entender que todos hemos perdido el rumbo, Señor.
Disrespecting the creator.
And what would Jesus do when
I'm sorry, wait a minute. Sometimes people say, well, what did Jesus do for animals? Well, in fact, you only have to look at the incident of the cleansing of the temple, the enormous animal sacrifice. He goes in and of course it had momentous, especially, if not exclusively, his trial and his execution.
Wow. But what did that have
Información interesante porque yo la verdad es que no me acuerdo mucho de nada de eso.
to do with animals?
Well, what were they buying and selling? Well, it's not chocolate. They're buying and selling animals for sacrifice.
I had no idea there was a specific historical event that led directly to Jesus' crucifixion 4 days earlier, known as
Den of thieves.
today only mention Jesus being mad about the money.
No more exchanging money. He poured out the coins of the money changers and he overturned their tables.
But looking into the past, there were hidden clues.
Selling of sacrificial animals was what sustained the temple. The truth is that the temple at the time of Jesus was a mass slaughterhouse.
Como que no querían que vendieran, que los animales fueran comprados para el sacrificio, pero ¿y cómo lo iba a tener la gente que no tenía, no sé, una vaca en su casa? Asumo que hay gente que no. Si me ven escribiendo es porque tengo que escribir a la gente. Yo estoy hasta el culo.
One of the world's most sacred temples for all Western religions was a slaughterhouse. Yet historical records do show millions of animals being sacrificed and priests wading up to their knees in blood. It was time to visit the Holy Land.
Welcome to Jerusalem, the place where the history of the Abrahamic faiths all began. From here, we can see the southern wall of the Temple Mount. And that was the place that thousands of Israelites would come to bring their own particular offerings.
During the temple tour, I stayed back while Cam snuck away to find any signs that the temple was a slaughterhouse. If it were true, there would have had to have been some...
Dios mío, yo tengo que... Estoy muy verborraico, o sea... No sé si es que no me gusta que me reten. Eso es un peo. Ya va, te lo voy a mandar en nota voz porque soy muy tosco tal vez escribiéndolo. Es que Juan, o sea, a veces no grabas, no, en esos ahí no, tipo no es como, Bran, acá está la categoría. Esta es tal categoría, esta es tal categoría. Entonces, claro, yo que no conozco, es re complicado porque de repente estaba Lucas y de repente estaba el muchacho Juaco. No sé en qué categoría competía cada uno. Y de repente estaba acá uno y después estaban todos. No sé y si estaban compitiendo en men o lo que sea. Entonces, ¿qué hice yo? En el orden que me lo mandaste, lo fui agregando, ¿entiendes? Ahora hay un orden, pero que tú me lo mandas, pero eso no significa que yo fácilmente lo vaya a conseguir. O sea, voy a tener que buscar pistas dentro de cada video para saber qué categoría era la que estaba pasando cuando tú grabaste eso. Por eso capaz no estaba ese audio ahí. Pero eso sí lo voy a revisar porque, o sea, yo descargué todo lo que estaba en el drive. Yo no he movido eso, entonces... O me salté categorías que capaz puede pasar, pasé unas cosas... Pero usé todos, o sea, estaba de Agustina, estaba Lucas, estaba el otro muchacho que tenía un slick negro que no me acuerdo cómo se llamaba, el que iba con Juaco, y ya, y tipo, estaban todos, o sea, puse videos de todos, pero no, y había uno solo, que vi que hizo una categoría solo, pero esos eran los videos que estaban, o sea, yo descargo todo y voy agarrando de cada clic. Veo que le suma a la historia. Capaz me faltan videos o capaz no están, pero bueno, los comparo mañana ya con lo que yo tengo a lo que está en el drive. Pero hasta donde yo entiendo, usé todo. Pero bueno, no pasa nada, mañana lo reviso. No me puedes mandar un montón de información de la nada que no tiene contexto y que yo haga lo que pueda y haga buen trabajo con lo que puede, de repente siento que le faltó tal. Un golpe no te falta.
Sort of drainage system connected to the temple to flush out all the blood from killing animals.
Ahí estaría para tomarme una Coca-Cola, pero no. Voy a buscar agua por lo menos. Dios, lo que me cuesta usar este control de mierda. Ahí está. Aparte es que yo también soy muy picado. Dios, no se me puede decir nada. De hecho, el problema, y claro, este es un chico que teníamos un trato y yo le tenía que hacer 8 videos y ahora le estoy haciendo el 9º. Y me ataco porque me dice, eso te lo tengo que pagar porque era noche y este es el 9º, que no sé qué, y no sé qué pasó, pero no quedó épico. Y yo, no te preocupes que no quedó épico porque no porque no me hayas pagado, sino porque no estamos hablando de plata. Ya cuando empiezan como a creer que yo hago las cosas solamente por, o sea, esta maldita silla de mierda que me estresa, que está como para abajo, que debería estar como que está muy agachada hacia abajo, es una mierda. Oh, Dios, la puta que te parió. Es como que no, yo hago lo que puedo con lo que tengo, pero bueno, si tú me mandas esta información, yo trabajo con esa información. Dios.
I'll find anything sign and realized he had been walking through it.
I'm in this massive drainage channel where scriptures say all the blood streamed out from the millions of animals being sacrificed in the temple above.
We're talking rivers of blood. The entrails, the smell, the flies, it's a huge operation with thousands and thousands of animals.
And next to the temple, archaeologists recently found thousands of animal bones that came from hundreds of miles away.
Jerusalem has no natural resources, and therefore certainly animal flesh was the major driver of the economy that was functioning at that time, no question.
All of the sacrificed animals were barbecued on the altars and sold by priests for meat.
They're sacrificed in those walls, and it is something so trippy to be here. on the Feast of Sacrifice, with rivers of blood in the streets, where so many animals are being slaughtered, just like they were then. It's still happening today. And soon, the Temple Institute is planning to sacrifice a prophetic, perfect red cow to bring back the millions of Jewish animal sacrifices inside the temple. And this, you've got to be alive.
We wondered, how did this link between religion and killing animals even begin? We had to go back, way back, to where this all began.
Prehistoric societies saw animals as ancestors of the tribe. They were the totems. They were sacred. That changed anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000 BC, when the first humans in the Middle East learned to domesticate animals. We controlled their breeding, their sex lives, we castrated the males. Transition there where you had to be kind of careful because animals, they were still sacred. You couldn't just kill them outright. They had to say some guilt-reducing things to the animal that was about to be killed. I'm sorry to have to kill you, but the gods want me to do this. This is where animal sacrifice becomes a way to provide meat to the cities in a religious context and turn it from this being that might have been sacred, might have had power, turn it into food. And eventually it evolved into a religious system where our God says, yes, you have a license to do this. You have dominion over the earth.
Dominion is the principle which guides all Western religions' views towards animals, which led to the widely known spiritual ways of killing animals for the marketplace known as kosher and halal.
Animals were the first form of money. We took animals out of the wild and made them property, tradable objects. In fact, the word capital comes from head count of the herd. A herd measured their wealth in terms of heads of animals. One of the words for money is pecuniary. That's from an old Latin word from livestock. Live stock.
And under regulatory attack.
Government and religion have been intertwined by killing animals for profit for thousands of years. During the time of Jesus, the temple was making tons of money and taxes from killing animals for meat that funded the Roman Empire. Was this kind of money still being made today? It turns out where it costs 500.
Bueno, por suerte siento que hasta la hora no me han baneado en Twitch por mostrar esto. Dice que estoy en vivo, dice que estoy transmitiendo. Está bien, está bien.
$100 to $1,000 to be organic certified. It costs anywhere from $1,000 to $40,000 to be kosher certified. $1 billion in 2 years. Only to be rivaled by halal, the Muslim equivalent to kosher, which expects to reach $1.1 trillion this year. This all made us think, when Jesus called the temple a den of thieves, was Dr. Lindsay inferring that Jesus was not only speaking out against the money changers, but also killing animals that led to his crucifixion? So while we were in Israel, we wanted to go visit Nazareth to see if we could find any historical clues of who Jesus really was. But when we looked up from Josephus where in Nazareth he lived, everything took another turn.
Josephus records all 204 villages and cities in Galilee, and Nazareth, there's no Nazareth.
What? No Nazareth? The only thing I thought I knew about Jesus is that he's from Nazareth. But we then looked into the Encyclopedia Biblica and it states it's very doubtful Nazareth was the dwelling place of Jesus. It's not in the Old Testament or the Talmud, and it doesn't even appear in any historical map or records until 200 years after his death. So why do we all know him as Jesus of Nazareth if there may not have been a Nazareth? What was this title referring to? Back, we received an email from Dr. Lindsay
saying the situation in general with the university was difficult.
And around the same time, the subject of Christianity and eating animals was becoming a hot topic with pastors.
That the reason God put animals on this planet is for humans to consume, kill, and eat.
You can eat meat. It's not a sin.
We basically just need to make sure that we're nice to people.
Qué quilombo, siento que es como un montón todo por comer carne, ¿no? Puergue, ¿cómo estás? Welcome. Estabas desaparecido, yo estaba hablando aquí solo con mis voces. Felicítame, mira dónde estás Mira dónde está el chat. Quiero que me felicites, ¿ok? Puse el chat y puse unas alertas para cuando alguien se suscribe y done plata. Que también sale, pero no sé cómo probarlas para que se vea. Y es mi 6º día esta semana, es el último día. Lo he dado todo. Me esforcé. Encontré un TikTok de una chica y me puse a ver todo por ahí. Ahí está puta, si ya las alertas las puedes probar desde el mismo bot, pero hasta que no tengas la categoría de afiliado, no te habilitan las SUT. ¡Ay, qué estúpida que soy! Bueno, pero ya están activadas. Sí, o sea, acá, si las puedo probar, a ver. Déjame probar, ¿cómo se llama? No, acá. Recuerdo que tú me dijiste que era por Stream Elements y me metí ahí. Y nada, o sea, vi un TikTok y la chica me dijo que lo hiciera desde ahí. Mira, Streaming Tools, Overlays. Ay, ahora no sé cómo ver las mías. No era acá. Ya va, porque ya me volví un culo. Dashboard. ¿A mi perfil? No me acuerdo cómo era. Creo que era acá. No sé cómo ver las mías para probártela, pero sé que era acá y uno le daba acá. Bueno, qué sé yo, voy a darle acá atrás. Aquí estaban las mías. Por acá deben de estar, ¿no? Acá estaba. Claro, es que todo esto lo estuve probando, por eso me aparece toda esta pelotudez. Pero claro, acá en alertas, mira. Acá, emulate. Me gustaba. Me encanta. Para cuando se suscriben, cuando alguien me sigue, ese me puede salir todavía, ¿no? Si alguien me sigue ahora, ese puede salir. Y es mi Fat Forever.
Robotip $10.
Aparte lo puse que durara 20 años. Me encanta. Bueno, ¿qué estamos haciendo hoy? Estoy viendo un documental. Hasta ahora han estado averiguando si Jesús comía carne o no, y por qué eso es tan importante y cómo hicieron un negocio con eso. Así que es lo que estoy haciendo ahora. Y era no sé si viste el documental ese de What the Hell. Bueno, es de los mismos creadores que está buenísimo. Hasta ahora
It's a substitute for biblical morality. It becomes save the animals. Right. Okay, great. But if you're gonna say it's because God wants us to, that's a doctrine of devils.
That's right. But when we reached out to the bigger...
Yo ya vi toda la... O sea, ya me puse al día con Percy Jackson esta semana. Quedaron en que Luke se había llevado el vellocino de oro, ¿sí? Y a Annabelle. Y ahí quedó, ¿no? Como que se van a... Igual si pasa lo mismo que la película, van a revivir a Cronos y luego lo vuelven a matar. Y la temporada estoy seguro que va a terminar cuando pongan el vellocino de oro en Clarice y Clarice reviva como en la película. Y ahí se termina la temporada.
Mega churches, everyone refused an interview.
So it's January 19th and this drone has been outside the window for about 6 of the last 10 nights just hovering. What's going on?
Ever since we began investigating this topic, I started seeing drones outside my window.
February 24th.
And feeling I was being watched and followed.
It's been about 15 of the last 20 days now. There's a drone again. I don't know what's going on.
As all this was...
Por eso empezaba el documental con espera y verás de lo que la iglesia es capaz.
Happening, we wondered if Christianity had any ties with animal agriculture. It turns out several fast food chains like Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out Burger are openly Christian and even have secret Bible verses hidden in their packaging. And the president of Cam's church, the SBC, which is the largest Christian organization behind the Vatican, had ties to the founder of Chick-fil-A and Tyson Foods.
We're about a $40 billion company. You brothers, let's just pray for them.
And the SBC recently posted a video on respecting animals.
And I think non-human animals merit our serious attention. They're also vulnerable. They're also voiceless.
But then immediately deleted it with an apology saying it didn't align with their mission. Then when the same producer made a video on what would Jesus eat, the world's biggest factory farm lobby group called What Would Jesus Really Eat on their homepage.
Sí, la iglesia siempre tranquilos.
Pull down the video on animal ethics because you received funding from Tyson Foods or you have close ties to the industry or dining.
There's no connection. There's no corporate connection. I mean, there's no pressure to do it. It's just this is we're following our mission, you know. So.
And the mission is?
The mission is to help equip Christians to live, to apply the gospel to moral and ethical issues. I think I have to take this. So
it's very clear throughout the scripture that humans have a higher place in God's hierarchy than animals. Furthermore, God has given human beings a mandate to rule.
People often say, but Andrew, human beings.
Igual me parece como que todo muy rebuscado, tanto, capaz lo entiendo más adelante, pero tanto drama por si Jesucristo comía carne o no comía carne, si comía cerdos o no comía cerdos, si mató un animal o no lo mató. O sea, como que la iglesia se vuelve re loca por eso. O sea, por los padres violadores no dicen nada.
Dominion is power to control or dispose of at your discretion.
Because God has given us dominion over the earth and over all the beasts of the earth. They're ours to do with as we see fit.
Yet, researching Dominion's original translation, we were surprised to learn that Dominion actually means to serve in stewardship for others, as God does over us.
Stewardship, being the leader, the guide, the superintendent in a responsible way.
Dominion simply means that we have a responsibility to look after the created order. In other words, we are the servant species, not the master species.
Masterpieces.
The true translation of Dominion reminded me of sentient being, which is why it was difficult to understand how the Dalai Lama could eat meat. So we found some Buddhist monks to talk to, including a professor of animal law.
There is no Buddhist way to kill an animal and eat an animal. Buddhists wouldn't do that. The Buddha at the time was very critical of animal sacrifice in India. The Buddha therefore urged compassion towards all sentient beings.
Part of the vows is to not kill. To not kill, period. If we've had previous lives, all the living beings that we see today at some point have taken care of us, you're killing your mother.
If I'm out in the woods and I haven't eaten for 3 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, I will not be able to actually throw a stick, a pebble at the rabbit to kill it in order for me to sustain my life. I can't. I will die. That's what the Buddha teaches.
¿Será que nos hacemos budistas y ahora empezamos a buscar cosas de budistas?
No, I cannot say never. Buying and killing is not the same thing.
No?
No, there isn't killing.
There's not killing?
There isn't. As far as Buddhism is concerned, it's not.
In the 21st century, we know that all animals that are served up and bought at supermarkets are killed for the specific purpose of eating, for being consumed. Therefore, the question becomes, does the person incur the karma of some participation in that industrial killing machine by consuming the food? The answer is probably some degree of yes, but because karma is intention, and this person has not had the intention to kill, but the intention to consume an animal that has already been killed, the karmic weight of the eating of the meat is very different. It's lighter. For example, if someone invites me to a meal.
Viste que es como, no sé, están re ofendidos, pero bueno, yo asumo que van a llegar en algún punto del documental. Voy a entender por qué es tan importante verlo, porque incluso lo estamos viendo gratis, porque es un documental que pusieron afiches por todo Buenos Aires de que lo vea. Entonces se ve gratis, ¿entiendes? O sea, ni siquiera es de Netflix o algo así. Lo estoy viendo desde la misma página. Que se me olvidó cómo es que se llama el hijo de madre. Acá está. christspiracy. Pero yo toda esta, como mi mamá es testigo de Jehová, le pregunté que si sabía si Cristo comía carne o no. Vamos a ver qué me responde.
And they serve chicken or some meat, then I will eat it.
Well, as an example, I'm staying with some friends of mine in San Francisco, and they had 2 sausages that they were going to put in pasta. Had dinner with them.
Couldn't this have been one of your...
Ahorita igual le pregunté eso a mi mamá y me va a salir a dar una clase de teología. Va a iniciar desde el... No sé ni para qué le pregunté, porque va a empezar desde el inicio de los tiempos hasta ahora. Mala mía.
parents from a past life?
It couldn't have been. It was.
And you still ate it?
I ate this. It was really good, too.
The host and the comfort of the host has precedence over the fact that this animal's been killed some time before.
Well, what if a Buddhist is at a buffet and they can serve themselves?
The way you do that at a buffet is very different to the way you do it at a private dinner party.
So like the buffet here, a Buddhist would never choose any animal products?
Yeah, that's right.
So if a Buddhist chooses to eat meat, who's the animal killed for?
It's killed for the individuals who actually had the intention of killing the animal.
Well, why did they kill it?
No, lo peor es que no nos preguntamos nada de esas cosas. La relación con mi mamá es muy random. Entonces, de la nada le mandé a ver esta nota de voz. Creo que está acá. Ah, ya va. No se escucha. Qué pelotuda que soy. Bocina el iPhone. Estoy viendo un documental de que hablan como de la iglesia católica y que... Ay, coño. Cuestionan si Jesucristo mató animales y comió. Estoy viendo un documental de que habla como de la iglesia católica y que como que se cuestionan si Jesucristo mató animales y comió. ¿Hay como referencia a eso en la Biblia? O sea, o solamente comió pescado. O capaz mami me responde, no, mijo, ¿yo qué voy a saber? Sería una buena respuesta. Pero en cambio de eso no me respondió nada. Me dijo, el teléfono se me apagó, recién lo aprendí. Yo, buena madre, respóndeme lo que te pregunté.
For the money.
And whose money did they take?
The consumers.
And who's that?
Not just me.
It seemed in today's times, the subtleties and interpretations of the first precepts were difficult to navigate. So we wanted to go back to the root of Buddhism and speak to one of the highest ranking Buddhist monks, the Karmapa. How does a Buddhist compassionately kill or eat animals?
There is no Buddhist way to kill compassionately, because we view all sentient beings as being like our father and mother. We have to consider it like eating our parents. And that is really quite difficult to do. Really quite difficult to do.
For Buddhists to eat meat is because during Buddha's time, Hindu Brahmins were sacrificing animals like priests were during Jesus' time. And according to some traditions, to save the animals, Buddha offered his own life instead. It was surprising to learn Hindu Brahmins were ever killing animals, because Hinduism is known as a vegetarian religion whose god Krishna reveres cows as sacred and holy. So on our quest to find a spiritual way to kill an animal, we never thought to look into Hinduism for the answer. Until...
Now, this is a big breaking news that is coming in. The government has decided to ban the slaughter of cattle across the country.
Modi government's decision
across the country. Los indios hablando inglés, o sea, cuando hablan inglés son el mejor acento. Cuando yo trabajaba en el hotel, venían, sir, please, can you hear me with this problem? I really need your help, sir. My name is Muhammad.
Widespread outrage.
I don't understand. How are they banning slaughtering cows in India if we thought they didn't kill their holy cows? We found a local animal activist to explain what was going on.
There are more cows killed here than anywhere else in the world, and no one knows it. It's our country's biggest conspiracy. It's very dangerous, but you have to help us make this in the national news.
Trafficked from India
by the alleged illegal beef society are people.
Disturbing news, the cow mafia has struck again, targeting animal rights activists. The mafia has targeted the cow protectors in Bangalore.
When we arrived, Altop had tracked a cow smuggling truck seemingly headed for the Gadamai animal sacrifice.
A cow mafia truck has been identified, headed for the border. Estimated cargo, 70 cows. Waiting for a confirmation returning to the police.
Muy rebuscada. Esta gente igual debería ir a hacerse una visita en Venezuela, ir a ver cómo están los presos políticos, No sé, un documental de Maurito, cómo llegó, cómo está. Contrabandeando carne. Definitivamente esa gente no sé, no ha venido a Latinoamérica.
He stuffed cows to the police, but surprisingly, they turned us away. In the meantime, we had to figure out where all these smuggled cows were coming from. Altab sent us undercover to find the surprising answer.
So they don't want human to see this because they guys face are helping us shoot here. Otherwise.
Oh.
Even though this was actually better than most dairy farms in the West, there were still many similarities. Like how each cow is artificially inseminated to become pregnant. Then, after birth, her newborn is placed next to the mother until she starts milking, then taken away. If her newborn is male, he's useless. So in India, he's tied outside in the sun and starved to death since Hindus aren't allowed, kills them for veal. Then the mother is injected with oxytocin.
Cuando uno cree que este mundo no puede ser peor, vemos a los indios. Te lo juro.
Which tricks the cows to contracting as if she's having another baby, thus causing her to release milk more rapidly. Females repeat this cycle 3 to 4 more pregnancies.
And what happens after that?
They die. They said they die naturally after that.
How do they die naturally?
They reject हो जाती हैं. Reject होने के बाद कट जाती हैं. Once they stop giving milk, then they are sent to slaughter.
So all these holy dairy cows are sent to slaughter?
Yes.
Yes.
It's true. We are the biggest exporters of beef, shamefully. It's very difficult to make people who drink milk understand that the meat industry and leather is fed into by the dairy industry.
All the dairy cows and
Leather is made killing lots of people. The poorest of the poor work in them because they're paid almost nothing. They stand in chemicals the whole day, curing the leather. And most of them have not only skin diseases, but cancer of every kind. And all the leather chemicals are thrown into the rivers.
And where does all the chemical, the Ganges, the sacred Ganges River, isn't that?
Dios mío, estamos todos locos, el mundo está loco, el mundo se va a acabar, Cristo va a venir ahora. Ya mismo. Ya va que me pego, pero es que me están escribiendo y como que tengo que responder.
Dad? No. And what is the spiritual community doing about this?
Just increasing it, increasing the export. All across the world, this industry operates on the basis of guns, political support, media support, both of them manipulated with money. And
Hindu scriptures encourage consuming dairy?
all rubbish.
Many scriptures have been really tampered with.
¿Sabes qué? Yo siento que necesito algo para poner los pies. Como una cajita. Y tengo... Ya va. Ay, por favor. Ya voy. ¿Qué capa no puedo meter? Ay, qué marginal que soy. Pero es que esta silla, hija de su puta madre, como que hace que... ¡Claro! ¡Ay, claro! ¡Me encanta! Ahorita tumbo todo, soy re marginal.
Because man wanted to use the scripture for his own convenience.
And it wasn't just Hindu scripts whose texts were being brought into question. Altab told us
Islam wants you to protect the environment. God says in the Quran that I have made human the guardian of the planet.
Altab told us that Islamic scripture states that the
Pero no saben lo cómodo que aparte tengo lo que son los ¿viste? Los isquios, la parte de atrás de las piernas, las nalgas y la espalda como muy adolorida porque entrené demasiado duro esta semana, entonces estoy que no puedo. Y así, esta gordita se puede sentar acá un ratito. Así nos ve, así vemos el stream los dos. Yo, a ver, si bajo, no es esta. Casi me tiro la cámara. Acá. Si bajo, van a ver que así estamos acostaditos viendo el stream. Yo te arropo con esto, que no es para arropar, pero bueno, no importa. Acuéstate. Eso es, acuéstate ahí, gordita. Ahí.
The Prophet Muhammad was appalled with the ills of Meccan society at the time, including the sacrifice of animals made to idols. This drove him out of the city, where he entered the cave of Hira, which is where he received the first revelation of the Quran from the angel Gabriel. That night, activists tracked down another cow. Cows were rescued and sent to a sanctuary.
My grandfather started the first dairy farm in India. There was no organized dairy before then.
Do you drink dairy yourself?
No. Because it's unnecessary. It doesn't do anything for us, and it's cruel. The meat industry is just a conspiracy of silence. Nobody talks about it. Nobody shows it.
Do you consider yourself a spiritual person?
No.
No.
I believe that doing is better than praying.
Doing is better than praying. You say, motherfucker.
In India, we gave one final attempt to interview the Dalai Lama. Just after, though, he made an official statement that said, "It's all right to have meat of dead animals that's not slaughtered for meat." We couldn't figure out how that was possible. But on the way home, Cam realized he had a Christian friend who was famous for eating animals who weren't slaughtered for meat.
Welcome to Food for Louis. We're going to continue with the roadkill series, and we've stumbled across a fox. Oh yeah, look at that meat.
¿Qué acabé de ver?
Continue with the roadkill series, and we've stumbled across a fox.
Oh
yeah, look at that meat.
I started YouTube back in 2012 with a channel, Food for Louis, where I just kind of pushed the limits of, I guess, what it meant to be a carnivore in its rawest form, eating roadkill, squirrels, pigeons, and rabbits. But there was one thing I did which really just got me in a lot of trouble.
I'm going to be eating my goldfish.
That caused uproar. All the national papers were printing massive articles on it. 7 of my videos got taken down. I was the #1 wanted person from the RSPCA. Friends from church were really worried, and they said, "We'd love to pray for you. We think you need help."
People are going to know you as psychopath.
I was like, can't you see this is just completely hypocritical, that you're offering to pray for me and that you're worried about me? And yet everybody in my church was happily eating hamburgers and chicken and fish and everything, and they just had no issue with that and didn't make the connection.
Realizing how his church was morally all right with him eating certain animals but not others was a bit confusing, and made us feel like we were in some sort of matrix.
So in the movie The Matrix, the characters believed that they were living their lives freely, but really they weren't. All that they saw was an illusion that was created by this matrix. And we can see a similar mentality when it comes to eating animals. I refer to this as the carnistic matrix. Carnism is the invisible dominant belief system woven through the very structure of society that conditions us to distort our perceptions of our behaviors and creates a gap in our consciousness, so we don't really realize what we're doing. Without awareness, there's no free choice. Carnism is why we are able to love dogs and certain animals and eat others and not recognize the contradictions, how they're not in alignment with our values. We don't make the connection between the individuals those foods once were.
Would you like if someone ate you?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, then why should I eat this poor harmless animal?
Kill this animal. It's good for your body. Jesus created animals for us to eat.
God has given those animals unto us. And this is, of course, where you'll have the sick people of the world that are just twisted in their head because they don't have God and they don't know the Bible and they don't know the truth, who will elevate the status of an animal or of a beast to be that of a human being.
Let me just put this thing to bed once and for all. It was impossible to be a vegetarian in the Old Testament and be right with God. Could not do it. Impossible. Yes.
Impossible.
All meat. You know, dog, cat, whatever.
What if a host served Buddhist dog to eat?
Why?
Would it be different?
Why would it be different?
Oh, so a Buddhist would eat a dog?
Well, I wouldn't eat it.
But wouldn't that offend the host?
What if they were serving a unicorn? I've never even heard of that situation occurring.
Today,
Oh.
served up as food.
People from all over Asia come to this city to eat dogs, and we've rescued thousands and thousands of dogs. I started going undercover into these slaughterhouses. It was so shocking and so devastating, and it's that pushed me towards making the connection that there's no difference between a cow or a pig or a sheep or a dog. And a lot of people don't know, but I don't just do dogs. I go into big slaughterhouses and cow farms.
Ay, me van a hacer llorar estos hijos de puta. Yo no quiero llorar. Es que tengo que traer, ya va, porque esta se quiere acostar, así que, y no se puede acostar si no tengo algo en que se apoye. Así que vamos a ponerla aquí, ¿ah? Así. Ahí estás cómoda. Y te pongo esto así. Acuéstate, pues. Ahí estás cómoda. Eso es, acuéstate ahí. Acuéstate ahí.
Anyways. Sorry. Stricken. Messed up. My belief in a religion died while I was there. And there's no God on a kill floor.
Aww.
No chance of a better life. There's no tomorrow. No divine intervention. I don't know what I am now, but definitely not religious. I think we're living through like the modern day Holocaust. I think that's the atrocity of the 21st century. Eating animals, so.
Oh.
Has these qualities of both being very subtle and being universal. Well, the beginning of discrimination and oppression is first given to the child when she...
Está brutal. Todavía no entiendo el punto, pero... Ya porque me mandaré nota voz. Y I need it. Nada tenía que ver con si comía o no carne. Es que no sé, o sea, empezaron hablando de Jesús y ahora están hablando de la... Yo le doy play y no le termino de dar. Esto está cagada de frío. Hizo que ayer está en 24, mami, no seas exagerada. Ya te arropé. Y van por esto. Igual no sabía que iba a ser como un documental otra vez. Dejen de comer carne porque será semi-vegano de vuelta por 6 meses más.
Chicken, and pigs, and cows.
The pigs are nice, and chickens are nice, and cows are nice.
And then it continues that similar living beings, one should be cared for and the other must die. And that's basically what happened to my family after the war. Eventually, I went to work for an environmental consulting firm at the slaughterhouse. And I was walking around taking notes, and I suddenly came across piles of heads, hearts, hooves, and animal bodies. My first reaction was remembering the body parts that I saw in Auschwitz, the Jewish victims, the members of my own family that perished in those camps. The use of cattle cars to transport my people to the death camps. The housing in tight wooden crates and identifying the victims by a number, the deception, so that people outside the walls didn't really know what was going on. The famous Nobel laureate Isaac Bashevis Singer said that for the animals, all men are Nazis, and for the animals, life is an eternal Treblinka.
It felt uncomfortable to compare the Holocaust to killing animals. But Alex told us that the word Holocaust originally referred to a Jewish animal sacrifice barbecued on the altar, a common practice from the temple that Jesus called the Den of Thieves, which developed into the system of spiritually raising and killing animals for food, known as kosher. We realized we had to visit a kosher farm to see if perhaps this was the spiritual way to raise and kill animals. But interestingly, every farm turned us down for a visit. So we linked up with an Israeli undercover activist who got us into what she called one of the best kosher farms around. It wasn't what we expected.
Something is wrong with them. It's a lot of suffering with tumors, with pus from their eyes.
The rabbi will explain you that he's kosher, that we can all eat him because it doesn't affect nothing.
They just waiting to the slaughter in age 1 year old. They still baby. So this is all their life. They just sitting on the shit, a lot of disease, sick. See what they're doing.
Oh.
We are eating energy of misery and suffering and a lot of pain, and it's getting really. And they're kind and they're beautiful and they don't deserve it.
Kosher farming didn't seem any different, but Tal took us to a rabbi who has killed over 1 million animals to see if the kosher killing is what made it spiritual.
אז הסכין הזאת היא בעצם סכין שאפשר וניתן להשתמש בה לשחוט בעלי חיים כשרים. הוא מנגב את הסכין עם סכין כל כך חדה וחלקה ללא פגם. הוא לא מרגיש בכל התהליך הזה. I can show you a video.
For kosher, you first take the cow into the machine, strap up the neck and rotate the body 180 degrees. Then the throat is slit. The cow is hung upside down to drain the blood. This is not to be confused with halal, the Islamic interpretation, which requires only rotating the cow 90 degrees, facing Mecca, saying Allah Akbar, praise God, before slitting the throat and hanging upside down. These methods are intended to reduce suffering.
Like this. 1, 2. That's all. Okay? This is good for animal.
Bueno, basta.
Movies, everything is so clean, and how they have this slaughter box and with this music. It's not like this at all. They can see everything, they can hear everything, they smell the blood. It's just, it's like a massacre. And with a lot of violence, this is it. It's a violent thing to do.
It's a violent thing to do.
When I just got a flashback, I saw the suffering in their eyes. That was the first time I saw it. Then I said to myself, this is really terrible. There's no kosher in Israel. What do you mean by kosher? There is none.
Not feeling kosher was any more spiritual. We wanted to see if humane slaughter was the answer. And we found a certified grade A humane slaughterhouse in Cam's hometown.
Hey, no, y'all can't be here. Y'all need to back up now. Y'all need to back up.
They really didn't want anyone to see what's going on in there, especially how slaughterhouses use ex-prisoners on parole to kill the animals.
2,000-3,000 cows a day. That's a lot of killing, a lot of blood going on. 80 hours a week, might even work more. It's really mentally disturbing. Sometimes you can have always possibilities that you might just snap. 85% of them been in prison.
O sea, hay que sí, o sea, no pueden poner sino un presidiario a trabajar en eso, porque ¿quién tiene la mente tan resuelta para matarte eso? De aquí voy a salir vegano. O igual yo no como, ay Dios, aparte hago pequeños, Dios, ¿qué clase de persona soy? Soy tan malo como todos ellos. No como carne porque es muy cara, pero como pollo. Y aquí pequeños. Qué hijo de puta que soy. Un remil hijo de puta. No entiendo por qué a todo el mundo le da por escribir a esta hora. No pueden acostarse a dormir, son las 12 de la noche. Qué pesados que son. Se te dan las lágrimas con un pequeño de queso. No, qué perro que soy. Se me ve la conversación en...
And these workers have the highest rates of worker injuries and among the highest rates of suicide and drug addiction and alcoholism and spousal abuse. And so they go back after work and take out on others or on themselves the frustrations and misery that they're inflicting on other living beings.
To give you a job, you have no choice but to work it. You have to get some back to prison.
We found out that many slaughterhouse workers are either prisoners on parole or immigrants that are forced to work under these conditions for as low as 93 cents per day, which makes this essentially slave labor with PTSD.
The model for slavery actually begins with, again, animal domesticators in the ancient Middle East. And the next form of it becomes human slavery when females and children were traded among the early herdspeople.
You look at slavery, you look at indentured servants as children, you look at a lot of things that used to be normal. Certain things that we used to do that now we would look at and say, oh no, that's terrible. as we evolve, they fall away. You know, we can eat them, we can do whatever we want to do with them because they're just animals. And that was the same rationalization that people used for slavery. These people aren't human, they have dark skins. This is a woman. She's not totally human, she's a woman. We can do whatever we want to do with her.
Anybody who says, we've got to deal with the human issues first, doesn't understand how animal oppression is informing human oppression. The oppression of animals is intensifying the oppression of women. In objectification, we no longer are in possession of our own bodies. And we see that in meat eating. We say chicken wings, not a chicken's wing. It's like leg of lamb. No, it's a lamb's leg. Reinforcing the idea that someone's only, are you a breast man? Are you a leg man? An assemblage of body parts, because body parts can't talk. So when we construct humans as better than non-human animals and then create oppressive systems, we are speciesists. Species racism, sexism, they're all working together as oppressive systems.
Seeing how animal oppression is interconnected with human oppression in this industrial system, we wondered, maybe the spiritual way to raise and kill animals lied outside the system in local free-range regenerative farms that were getting so popular with morally
Budista. No, bueno, no sé cuántas dijeron, pero como miles de clases de matar animales y ni una. Capaz es el mensaje, ni una es digna. Ay, ya esto todavía le queda un montón y yo ya tengo sueño.
meat eaters. The most popular in the country is Polyface Farms, led by Christian farmer Joel Salatin, who says he kills animals on his farm in a way he hopes Jesus would.
Well, when the New York Times calls me a rebel and an evangelist, yeah, I'm certainly an evangelist because I'm preaching that this is actual, food and farming truth. We believe in providing a habitat that allows the animal to fully express its emotional distinctiveness.
Oh, in this cage?
Just so you know, it's a shelter. It's a shelter. Cage sounds restrictive. Hi, ladies. The pigs now, they're not just bacon and pork chop players in this great healing ministry,
And their lifespan is how long?
A pig would live, I don't know how long a pig would live. They'd live a long, long time. But we harvest them before they get old and tough.
When is old and tough?
6 months. How are you, pig? Oh, it's just a good life, isn't it? Yeah, it's just a good life.
How do you think Jesus would kill an animal?
Yeah, I certainly would hope that he would kill an animal the way we do. We call this the Wheel of Fortune. We put them in head first here, hug, if you will, slit their throat here. And then this is the automatic feather picker. We pull the heads off and the feet off, and then they go into these chill vats. So
as well?
Pigs, cows, goat, sheep all have to go to a slaughterhouse.
So the chickens are only one process here.
And rabbits.
And rabbits.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
So tell me what you're doing.
I'm gonna stun it first.
Now, what does this mean if you stun?
Stun it, then it's not feeling anything. It's unconscious. So it's way more humane.
We now have a lot of people who kill animals every single day, and it's just not good for your psyche.
Como lo aturde no siente nada, pero sintió los coñazos que le metiste.
Feel like what Jesus would do. And we found out there were further impacts from these free-range grass-fed farms beyond just killing farm animals.
Every time you eat a free-range or grass-fed animal, you're contributing to the killing of other animals because farmers have to kill other animals that compete for the cow's land.
And eagles need to be reduced. Yeah.
This is devastating to wildlife. It's devastating to the Amazon forest, the Chaco forest. They're on fire right now. Why? To clear for pastures, to grow grass for meat.
Yo había escuchado eso. Que esos incendios que han habido por acá en Argentina y en muchas partes del mundo no son casualidades, que han incinerado esos lugares explícitamente para crear granjas de pastoreo y centros habitacionales, una verga así. Y sí, mira.
Second, An acre of rainforest is cleared, partly for grass-fed beef, but mostly to grow soy to feed livestock around the world. Out the precious medicinal plants they contain, the amazing diversity of animal life, it's forcing indigenous tribes to live homeless on city streets. And their wisdom also is now at risk of extinction.
Me dedico a este camino de la ayahuasca, a compartir una experiencia de vida con los demás, en la búsqueda de la conciencia. Con lo que sea espiritual, lo que sea ceremonias espirituales no son compatibles con la carne, nada, para nada. Porque la carne es un elemento como tal denso, energéticamente, más etérico, algo más etérico, si no, te amarra a la parte terrenal, no te deja fluir, liberar.
What if you pray or give thanks for the animal before you eat them?
No. No. O sea, esas son justificaciones. Que dicen, no, es que yo le pedí permiso a la naturaleza para matar el animalito. Pero usted no escucha qué dijo el animal.
With all this by-kill and environmental destruction, even regenerative animals is the ethical way to kill an animal. And Cam said he actually belonged to a Christian youth hunting club that did just that.
Are you humane hunters? Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
My heart was beating fast. He was like, there's a deer. When I grabbed the gun, I was just like, oh, it's here.
Wait till he gets broadside, and then I want you to put a bullet right behind.
When I saw the deer dead, I felt like, I don't know how to explain it. Just kind of bad, but he got the blood from where I shot the deer. And
wipe it off until tomorrow morning.
That's kind of weird. And then he told me that
this is the initiation.
Yeah. I just went along with it.
Lord, I just come to you this morning. I want to thank you for allowing Logan good.
I was just like, yay, I killed it. And then after, I was like, dang, I really just killed it. It was kind of cute. It reminded me of the deer, much of a size difference. And they're both beautiful.
No entiendo por qué dejan que un niño pase eso. O sea, es como, estamos todos locos. El mundo está mal, estamos muy mal.
Growing up, I was always heard to be someone, to have some sort of authority. And I chose to try and do that by exploiting something. The alpha males want to be more alpha, so they look for things that we can grab onto and say, fuck, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, beat the chest type thing. So I was basically being a bully, man. I wasn't even being a bully to something that could fight back. I was being a bully to something that I was standing 50 or 100 meters away from, shooting with a rifle. Yeah. And I suppose that's one of the reasons I joined the military, because it wasn't sport running around out there hunting something that couldn't fight back.
In primitive societies, because we hunted other animals, it fostered the use of tools and technology and the development of weapons. So there was a lot of fighting going on among people that kept herds.
Herding animals was a direct cause of the first wars, and the ancient word for war means cow. So war was the desire for more cows. It was a way to increase wealth. So we had the arising of war and slavery. We had the arising of a wealthy elite class, and we had the arising of religions that enabled the fundamental foundation of the society that we live in, which is owning animals as property for food and routinely and relentlessly killing them and eating them.
Meat is so identified with patriarchal ethics, the ends justifying the means, and violence as a way of having pleasure. We see it in ads that tell men to eat meat.
Oh yes, I'm a guy. I will eat this meat. He's like a man.
This desperate masculinity, trying not to be vulnerable, so exploiting something that is vulnerable. After Iraq, I never hunted again, and whatever was in my system was out, because you know what it's like to be hunted. Once you're put in the other position.
And the tables were turning on our quest as well. Learning of all this war, disparity, and oppression seemingly rooted from temples becoming slaughterhouses brought us back to what did Jesus do in the temple he called the den of thieves that led to his crucifixion. And we had a strong it may somehow be connected to Jesus' motive for cleansing the temple. But we didn't know where to look until
Four Dead Sea Scrolls rises back to life again, with new findings leading to possible scroll connections. Archaeologists and antiquities excavators are returning to the original site of the finding of the Dead Sea Scrolls in the Qumran cave area of the West Bank.
These scrolls were hidden by the church for decades until archaeologist Robert Eisenman daringly released them to the public. And it just so happened he lived only miles down the road from us, so we packed our cameras to see if he knew what Nazareth really meant.
Why can we find no solid historical record of Nazareth?
Nazareth is not a town that we can chronicle in Palestine from the known sources. The term Jesus of Nazareth was originally based in the Hebrew to describe not where he came from, but what he was. Jesus the Nazarene, which is a movement that opposed the temple which had been put in place by the Romans.
So you're saying it's not about where he's from?
It's not where he's from. It's who he is.
This Nazarene movement against the temple was well documented in historical records even before Jesus, and we wondered,
Did these Nazarenes ever kill or eat animals?
I don't think killing was part of any of these righteous ones' lives. So I'm not a vegetarian. But I don't do the killing myself, so I can avoid any responsibility in my own mind, but it's hypocrisy, obviously. Still, I don't think people like James or Jesus or those kind of righteous ones killed any animals if they could avoid it. And I don't think they would have.
Not even for food?
Oh, of course they did.
This wasn't obvious to us, but Dr. Eisenman showed us that this Nazarene movement that Jesus seemed to be a part of would not sacrifice animals or eat meat because they differed from other movements at the time by following the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill," to include animals.
7/8 of the people who deal with this material and teach others who know nothing about it are just repeating things that they've been taught by other people. Nothing that I learned was I taught by anyone else, period. I was taught by the literature itself.
So this guy keeps following me. This is like the fourth. What's up? Super sketch. As things were ramping up, I hired a private investigator to see if the industry or government was following me. In the meantime, we felt we had to find experts in the historical Jesus and Nazarene movement.
What facts do we know about Jesus that all scholars, Christians and non-Christians, will all agree actually happened? One is his baptism by John the Baptist. The second is an incident in the temple. And the third is his crucifixion. John the Baptist is the leader of the Jesus movement before Jesus. The Gospel of the Ebionites and Josephus both agree that John the Baptist eats nothing but plant foods. So John the Baptist certainly did not eat meat. And Jesus and John the Baptist are cousins. Jesus is simply carrying on the family tradition. And all the people in this family seem to be vegetarian.
Matthew is recorded as being a vegetarian.
Yes.
Peter is recorded as being a vegetarian. Epiphanius records that the whole Nazarene movement in the 4th century were vegetarian. And when Epiphanius talked to one of the Nazarenes personally, that Nazarene said to the question from Epiphanius, "Why are you a vegetarian?" the Nazarene responded, "Because Jesus taught us to be vegetarian."
Did Jesus eat animals? Certainly ate fish.
Do you want to get really specific? Peter and Jesus ate fish.
Oh, the fish stories, yes. Well, the problem with the fish stories about Jesus feeding the 5,000 and the 4,000, the earliest references describe the miracle of the loaves and the fishes as the miracle of the loaves without referencing the fishes at all. And in fact, even Jesus' own retelling, he says, "Don't you remember when I miraculously multiplied all the loaves?" He doesn't mention the fish at all.
In these stories, the words used for fish are actually a mistranslation, like the Greek ichthys, which is also a secret symbol for Jesus, and phosphagen, actually meaning a relish or anything eaten on bread. In another story in the Gospel of John, Jesus helps his disciples miraculously catch 153 fish, but then tells them to follow him and become fishers of men instead. Nearly the exact same story is told 500 years earlier by Pythagoras, where he wages a bet with some fishermen that if he's able to guess the number of fish in their nets, they must release them. They agree to the terms and are shocked when Pythagoras guesses the exact number of fish, and the exact number in the Jesus story, 153, is the ratio height of the Vesica Pisces. This symbol originated by Pythagoras, who was a lifelong vegetarian and fiercely against animal sacrifice.
If we want to understand where Jesus came from, we have to go back to the teachings of Pythagoras. That is vegetarianism, pacifism, and communalism, which became incorporated in the Essene doctrine and the Nazarene doctrine that Jesus grew up in.
And it turned out Pythagoras was a contemporary of the Buddha, and seeing Buddha was also against animal sacrifice and trained in yoga, we had to have a look.
What yoga is that union to the self. There is a part of the life of all of us that are in this room, including these two chihuahuas here on my lap, which is the self that's within us all. These girls are just driving chihuahua bodies. I just happen to be driving a human body. No big difference.
The path is pretty clear to happiness. Do everything you can to enhance happiness in the lives of others. The yamas are specific to how you should relate to others. Basically, this is what the Buddha is teaching. This is what Jesus is teaching, that we are all connected.
We had a revelation. If you put